I'm Stefanos Yorgosopoulos with SYG Law Firm, coming to you today to share what to do if your application or petition with USCIS is taking too long. We'll talk about some preventative measures and inquiries that you can submit yourself, when you know it's time to file a lawsuit, what the lawsuit process is like and what it's like working with an attorney, what happens after you file the lawsuit, and we'll answer some common questions that a lot of our clients have when they call us about this type of situation. Now, I will preface that there's a lot of different agencies that have their hands in the immigration process. We have USCIS, we have various enforcement agencies, the immigration courts. We also have the Department of State, which not only operates embassies and consulates around the world for visas, but they are also in charge of issuing U.S. passports. And what I'm going to share with you today can be applied, well, at least much of it, to most of these agencies. But today we'll focus on what to do when USCIS specifically is taking too long to adjudicate your case. So let's talk about some things that you can do in the meantime before you decide to file a lawsuit that might be helpful in your case. Admittedly, many of these measures are not successful in getting your case moving again, but it's important that you try at least some of these measures before you move forward with filing a lawsuit. So first, you have the option to submit an inquiry to USCIS. And an inquiry can be submitted on the USCIS website, or you can simply call the 1-800 number and contact an agent. You'll be lucky if you get somebody on the phone these days, but hopefully they'll be able to assist you in giving you a case status update and getting your case moving again. Short of this, the next option might be to contact what's known as the Office of the Ombudsman for USCIS. This is a separate department within USCIS, and they're tasked with advocating for individuals to get their cases moving again. Now, in the past, 5 or 6 years ago, this office was often successful in getting your case unstuck. These days, when you submit a request to the Ombudsman Office for assistance, it's very common to get a boilerplate response that says your case is experiencing normal processing times, you'll just have to continue to wait, which is of course very frustrating. Another option you might have is to contact your local congressperson by visiting the U.S. House of Representatives website, typing in your zip code and figuring out who is your local U.S. representative and figuring out how they handle these types of situations. Now, a lot of offices, U.S. representatives, are willing to listen to your issue and contact the government on your behalf. The frustrating thing with these is that they're usually not successful. You'll usually get a response several weeks to a month later from that U.S. representative, and the response is going to contain the same information that you've already known about your case, which is something like, hey, I've contacted the government on your behalf, they got back to me, and the government's telling me that they're just experiencing a backlog of cases and they're getting to your case as soon as they can. I'm sorry my office couldn't be of more assistance to you. And that can also be incredibly frustrating. Now, it's important that you take at least some of these measures to try to get your case moving again, because one thing you have to do before you file a lawsuit is you have to show that you have exhausted administrative remedies, meaning that you have tried to use the internal procedures of USCIS, their inquiries, their ombudsman, something, and you've been unsuccessful, and any more attempts at using those internal procedures is going to be a waste of your time. So, let's talk next about how you know when it's time to sue. So barring any type of special application that is known to take longer, such as a petition for a family member that's categorized under a preference category, F1, 2, 3, or 4, those cases are known to take years. However, if you are petitioning for an immediate relative, meaning a child of a U.S. citizen, the spouse of a U.S. citizen, or the parent of a U.S. citizen, something like that, and the government is taking more than 1 year to adjudicate your petition, that's when I tell clients that they are now ripe for a lawsuit, and they are able to move forward with that litigation without the fear of getting struck down. And the reason for that is our burden in filing a lawsuit is that we have to show that the government has been unreasonable in their delay. Now, many clients will ask, what about the USCIS processing timelines that they post on their website? Now, there is a website where you can go to find what the current processing time for your case is. The important thing to remember about those types of processing times that are published is that they don't mean anything. Those are just arbitrary numbers that USCIS publishes on their website, and they can change them from time to time. What's even more frustrating about that is if let's say an I-90 application to renew your green card. The processing time might be listed as 12 months, meaning it will take 12 months from the date that you file to the date that you'll get your green card back. If you were to submit an inquiry to USCIS about your case at 11 months, they would come back to that inquiry and respond that your case is still within normal processing times and that you're expected to wait further. What's even more frustrating is you might say, okay, I'll wait another month until my case is outside of the posted processing time. And when you get to that 12th month or 13th month, you go back online and look at the processing times, and they've arbitrarily picked another number and they've changed the target on you. So it's very frustrating to have a moving target, and that's why those numbers should not be relied upon. I usually tell clients anything longer than 1 year for a petition or an application to adjust status without any activity from your case is time to file a lawsuit. So the next question, how does working with your attorney's office help me get the lawsuit done? So one of the things that we'll talk about if you contact our office is, of course, what measures have you taken? I'm going to be asking you, have you called USCIS, and if so, on what dates? What did they say? Have you submitted inquiries, and do you have the confirmation emails for those inquiries? Have you contacted your congressperson? Now remember, it's not important to have done every single one of these things. You're not required to spin your wheels until you're just sick of the process, but you do have to show that you've made some type of attempt to contact USCIS and that they're either not responding to your requests or their responses are absolutely ridiculous. So when we file a lawsuit for you, we are alleging two things. The first is what's known as a writ of mandamus, which is basically just asking a judge to force the government to do their job, and that is to force the government to adjudicate your case. It's very important to note, the judge is not forcing USCIS to approve your case. They are simply forcing USCIS to adjudicate your case. So one of the things that my office is going to contact you about and discuss is whether or not you properly filed your case in the first place, because there's no point in pursuing a lawsuit if the underlying petition is deficient in some way. So we're going to ask you to go over with us what you filed, how you did it, where you sent it, what fees you paid. So any records you can pull up before you give our office a call will be very helpful for a consultation. The second thing we're likely going to be alleging is a violation of what's known as the Administrative Procedure Act, or the APA. And the APA basically says, among other things, that whenever an agency is tasked with some type of process, immigration, petitions, applications, that agency must not unreasonably withhold or delay your case. So our allegation is, of course, twofold. One, we're asking the judge to just make them do their job, and simultaneously we're saying that they're unreasonably withholding or delaying your case. Or perhaps they've made a decision that are not based on the facts of your case, or a decision that's not based on the law. And that's where the APA claim is very helpful. A writ of mandamus is going to force the government to act, but let's say you file that lawsuit and they do act, but they act in a way that is contrary to the law, or contrary to the facts, claiming you didn't submit something that you did, or the law says one thing that it doesn't, or that the law applies to your case or doesn't apply to your case when the opposite is true. That's where, of course, we'll have to leave our writ of mandamus on the table, but the APA claim still stands because we're alleging that the government has acted in a way that is not in accordance with the law. So that's why that claim is very important. So, what happens after you file? This is what you came here for. Can the immigration lawsuit get my case unstuck? And the answer is most of the time, yes. So when you file a lawsuit against the government, you are now in a U.S. District Court filing a lawsuit where USCIS, the Department of Homeland Security, are defendants in a lawsuit. Those defendants have their own attorneys, which is the U.S. Attorney's Office. And when you file a lawsuit and you serve a copy of that lawsuit on opposing parties, they legally have only 60 days to respond to your lawsuit. So, what actually happens? Well, you're going to serve a copy of that complaint on opposing parties. They're going to eventually notify the U.S. Attorney's Office that they've been sued again and that they need an attorney assigned to the case. Well, most U.S. attorneys have a lot better things to do than to go to trial over what, to them, an insignificant petition or application. They're handling much more pressing matters, and this is something that is just an inconvenience to them. And so usually around day 30 or 45, somewhere in there, when we're getting close to that deadline where we're waiting to hear from the government and their response, I'll get an email or a phone call from a U.S. attorney saying, "Hey, Stefanos, I've been assigned to the case. I'm looking into it. I'm talking to the agency. If we are able to get you a decision before the deadline, would you mind dismissing this case? Or perhaps we need just 30 more days to finalize the decision in this case. Would you grant me an extension so we don't have to enter an appearance on this case, waste our time, waste our resources?" And the answer from my office is, of course. That's all we're looking for in the first place. We're simply looking for the government to take action on the case. So if you as the U.S. attorney can talk to your client, which is USCIS, and get them to take that action, of course we'll dismiss the lawsuit, or of course we'll grant you some more time. And often the U.S. Attorney's Office is our best advocate. They have a direct line to somebody at USCIS that can help get your case done. So our office has a very positive working relationship with the U.S. Attorney's Office. They're a great bunch of attorneys. They're often very sympathetic to these immigration delays and are eager to get your case resolved for you, not only because it's an inconvenience to them, but also they're human beings and they understand that people just want to be reunited with their family, and they can also appreciate the unreasonable delays from their own client, which is USCIS. So what are some common questions that clients always ask? Well, the first question I'm sure that you're curious about is, how much does this cost? And as I'm sure you can appreciate, many attorneys are going to be hesitant to put their pricing online, myself included. And the reason for that is not to get you to call, but the reason is that every case is a little bit different. And the reason every case is a little bit different in the pricing is that some cases require an analysis of a complex area of law. For example, we have a lawsuit pending right now, which is litigating some crucial points of the Hague Convention, which deals with international adoptions. And an analysis of that law takes time to put into a complaint. So that complaint might be something that takes my office a lot more time to do. Whereas if you have something just as simple as a delayed petition, well, that doesn't take much time at all, and so our fees are often a little bit lower. I can tell you two things about our fees. The first is that the government is going to charge you about $400 to file the lawsuit in district court, so you can expect that filing fee. The second thing is my office does everything as a flat fee, and we're always welcoming clients to make monthly payments toward that. We know that you're kind of stuck with us while we wait for a decision, so we're always welcoming to monthly payments. On that note, what does it cost to have the attorney talk to me about my case to see if I'm eligible? And the answer is nothing. My office does not charge for a consultation. You're welcome to call us anytime. I have a small office where if you call, you're going to be put straight on my calendar within a day or two. And we're going to be able to speak whether in person if you're in the area, or over the phone if you're somewhere across the country, or in some cases across the world. So contact my office. We don't charge anything. We don't require you to leave a payment for a consultation. Most of our consultations are done within 30 minutes. We can leave you with an answer so you know what your immigration options are. And we're always welcoming of new clients, so give us a call. Our number is on the screen. Another question, which we touched upon earlier, is will the lawsuit guarantee that my petition or my application is approved? And the answer is no. It's important to note that all the lawsuit does is force USCIS to take action. It does not force what that action is. Now, of course, if USCIS makes an absolutely egregious decision, that's where our APA claim comes in, and we can maintain the lawsuit to pressure them to make the right decision. But no, the lawsuit does not guarantee a positive outcome of your petition. The next question, which is very common, is will the government get mad at me for filing a lawsuit? Will they treat my case worse? Will they deny me? Will I get in trouble? The answer is no. Filing a lawsuit against the government is your right if they are unreasonable in the processing of your case. Now, I can understand why many of our clients from all around the world are fearful of filing a lawsuit against their own government, because in some countries that's unheard of. Here in the United States, our government does not take it personally. There's not one person that's upset with you for filing a lawsuit, and if anything, the government actually treats you better in your case. They do not want to waste resources like the U.S. Attorney's Office, like the courtrooms. They're looking to resolve your case as quickly as possible, and they know a positive outcome is the best way to do that. So no, they're not going to get mad at you. I've never had a client be treated worse for filing a lawsuit, only better. So again, if you have questions about your particular case, please contact our office. Please do not leave personal information about your case in the comments section, as most of our communication should remain confidential. But if you do want to reach out to us, you can contact us at 951-595-7127 or by email at info@syglaw.com. Again, our consultations are free. We're happy to give you a response. We look forward to talking with you. So if you have questions about your particular case, please contact our office for a free phone or in-person consultation. We work with clients all around the country and around the world. There's no need for you to be right across the street from us here. We're happy to give you a free consultation, answer your questions. We'll be able to give you a price about the services that we offer, and we'll move forward from there. We look forward to hearing from you. Contact us at 951-595-7127, or you can email us at info@syglaw.com. Thank you.